Are the children there now usually educated in Bosnian or English?
Most of the time, they're educated in Bosnian,
Okay.
but they have a choice to take English as a foreign language.
Okay. And at what age do they usually start English if they choose that?
As far as I know and remember, in my time was like fourth grade.
Fourth grade?
Fourth grade, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so they're at least taught, they're always taught Arabic, but about half of them are also taught English. And at what age do they start in English?
Probably at the age of probably around first or second grade, so I'm not sure what age.
Okay, pretty early.
I'm raised in Ethiopia.
Okay. And where did you learn English?
I learned English when I came in the United States.
Okay. So, is English ever taught in the education system now in Ethiopia?
Yes, they do.
At what age do they usually start?
They start the ages 7, 8.
All the books are in Urdu until, I believe, until the 10th grade, and it becomes in English. Everything becomes in English after the 10th grade.
And do you know, do they still start English at 10th grade, or do they start it earlier?
They start at 5th grade.
I lived 25 years in Egypt.
Okay. And where did you first learn English?
In Egypt.
Okay. And you learned that in school?
Yes.
And at what age did you start learning English?
I would say probably 6 or 7 years.
Why do I think it's taught?
Yeah.
Probably because it's the most spoken language in the world.
Okay.
So I guess that's a good reason.
Most, maybe even all of you know what ESL is. English is a second language. But the English can also be a foreign language. And that's called EFL. English is a foreign language. And that means that the English is being studied in a place that is not predominated by English. So if a student in China or a student in Bangladesh or a student maybe in Hungary is studying and learning and speaking English, that would be as a foreign language. Whereas if a student were studying English in the United States, let's say an immigrant comes here and studies English, they're studying it as a second language, that they're going to go out then and speak in the community and where at their workplace and so forth. That's the dominant language in the area. As a foreign language, that doesn't mean English isn't spoken outside, and more English is becoming predominant. But it's not the native language of the area. It's not considered the native language of the area. So ESL and EFL are very similar. In fact, EFL could be considered a type of ESL, but the dynamics are a little bit different and the situation is different. And of all the people who are either in the ESL or EFL situation, there are about 1 billion people. Of those people, the vast majority are in non-English speaking countries. So that means the vast majority of those billion are speaking English as a foreign language. And some of the researchers believe that English as a global language, in the simplified idea, if everyone knows English, then that will allow cultures to share. And it also allows collaboration in business and research and education. So those researchers look at English as being at the right place in the right time. This is kind of how it worked, somewhat by happenstance. However, other researchers look at English as a foreign language a little more critically, actually a lot more critically. And they present evidence that English is actually destructive to other cultures, and that in some cases there's a deliberate effort by Western nations to proliferate English. And however, regardless of which side you're on, there is a benefit to bilingualism because it promotes cognitive flexibility. It can also promote cultural sensitivity. For instance, if you know the language of other people, then you're going to understand them better. and be able to communicate with them better, and thereby fears and anxieties and even bigotry can be absolved through that method. However, at the same time, there are complexities, and the researchers who are critical of it really do have a case to make. To take Singapore as an example, just some figures to give you an idea. In Singapore, a study was done asking school-age children in what language they surfed the net. And for school purposes, like homework, and they said 85% of the time that it was in English. And when they asked what language they surfed the net in for fun, they went up to 89%. And when they asked what their favorite book was, 89% of the time, again, it was in English.